Democracy for you and me. Democracy, machine your dollar fee. Get back on nigga, Gambian fee. Gambian, yes, you and me. Sunny cut a mile on you. On your fee. Sunny cut a mile on you. On your fee. Sunny cut a mile on you. On your fee.
First of all, you have to look at the theory and the functions of the state. The state has three arms, which is the legislature, National Assembly we're talking about. We have the judiciary, which is the law interpretation body, and the executive, which is the law that is the arm of state, which is in charge of executing the laws of the land. So the National Assembly is very important. It's representing the people. The entire population cannot be at the in one place at every time. So therefore, they have to elect some people to represent them in making laws, in ensuring that there's an equilibrium between the three arms of government. Well, actually, according to the Gambian laws, we have the Decree 78, which governs the IEC, and also the Constitution, which clearly spelled out, the need for a National Assembly, and every person who is the Gambian can contest for the National Assembly election. So it is the constituents, in every electoral constitution who have to choose their representative. Somebody who can articulate on their behalf in the National Assembly in terms of lawmaking, in terms of holding the state into account, because they have to control each other, like ministers coming in to give testimony, response to answers of the legislature, or the president giving an annual State of the Nation address before the National Assembly, and then the National Assembly having various, committees. They have Public Accounts Committee, they have Foreign Affairs Committee, held different committees. So basically, it's a very active body. So having somebody who understands the issue and will be able to represent the constituents very well. Because you are there as a member of the National Assembly, there are privileges, diplomatic immunity from prosecution while in office. So therefore, it is the constituents, they have to look at somebody whom they believe that will be able to represent them in this important, state body. Well, at the end of the day, and whoever they elect should be at least, to their best of ability, a reflection of the aspirations of the people. And because look at the law right now, somebody can be elected on a party ticket, but he or she can cross carpet without losing his or her seat. So the regional committees that are selecting should have that at the back of the mind, and they should not make the mistake of trying to impose candidates, on the constituents. Because you can make voters angry, and they go and give it to somebody. Because this is not the presidential election, where it is very clear that everybody is voting for or against one person. But this one, people have choices, and then it is more closer to them. So therefore, they should also reflect in their needs, and their aspiration. Make sure that the selection process is transparent, is democratic enough. That will also save them from subsequent blame in case things go wrong. The notion is that there is always this misconception that a National Assembly is there to solve their problems. And this has been the propaganda going along, because it has been a campaign tool for decades. That we want to vote somebody who can build hospital, roads, take us to Mecca, buy breakfast for us, which is not the role of the National Assembly member. Their salaries are limited, and their constituency allowances are also minimal. So they are just as the voice, represent, like I say, represent your constituents, channel their needs to the various agencies of state. If a particular region needs water supply, it's your role to serve as a mediator, but you cannot provide those ones. And then you have to be in the National Assembly, make sure that the law that is passed reflects the wish and aspirations of the people. If you look at the preamble of our Constitution, and then you vote according to your conscience. And you must be able to articulate yourself in the language. So that's why. So this has been the misconception that a National Assembly member is a messiah who is coming to solve their problem. But that's not the case. So, and this is what people should understand. You are not voting for somebody to make sure that you have bread on your table. That's not the role of the National Assembly. Like I said, their focus is making sure that somebody who is there to articulate their needs, if they have difficulties. Like I said, the National Assembly is not the breadwinner, but it's there to make sure that life is easier for you. If farmers have an issue, a region, they want to focus more into farming, the National Assembly should be there as a mediator, approach the Ministry of Agriculture, or making sure that, the National Assembly Select Committee on Food and Agriculture, approves, the budget, to make sure that, this thing is implemented. So they just make sure that they have somebody who will be able to represent their interests, but in their common interests. But they should not expect somebody who is going to solve their immediate needs, like everyday school fees, medical transport, those small survival issues. They have to look at the bigger picture and focus on their future, on the future of the country and the future of their consequences and what they need for their common benefits in the medium and long term. So candidate who can represent them well. It doesn't make sense to have somebody in National Assembly who does not understand. At the end of the day, somebody who votes based on national interest. There are different people with different motives. When they go to the National Assembly, they look at their personal interest or they forget about their constituencies. But somebody who actually has good rapport with them. That's why, the selection process is done at local level. So candidates who believe that, they can represent their communities very well, they have to go, and the people look at that one. They should not vote for people based on tribal sentiment, based on religious sentiment. Our constitution is against that one. Any law that is inconsistent with the constitution is null and void. So they should not vote for somebody based on religious, tribal sentiment, because if you are the National Assembly, you are representing a constituency and the country. You are not representing a particular tribe or a particular clan, kabilo, or a particular religion. So therefore, voters and the citizens should always look at the competence, whether the person has met the constitutional thresholds that are there, and also whether the personality, the person has what it takes, to debate laws very well, making sure, because, any law that passes through the National Assembly, it goes through the president to approve it. Whether good or bad law, it will be implemented. So making sure that the National Assembly has foresight in debating the law, making sure that once the bill is there, the impact, on the population or on the constitutions will be more positive than negative.
Democracy.